Good afternoon. So I will discuss the results, scientific results from yesterday, and we will see some more scientific evidence. But before that, I want to again speak shortly about something that is very peculiar regarding the situation. Actually, I've spoken about it quite a bit in the past, but it was again important things should be reiterated. What was clear to me actually since like a long time ago, like I mean more than a year, like maybe 2 years or so, through all sorts of divinations, and not only divinations, but I mean also rational argumentation, but mostly divination, is that it was clear to me that, and it became clear to me that, and this was like actually it became like more like detailed understanding when I started painting. So I understood that the painting could potentially, like of lags and maps and the world and also all of other things, and the Neros, like in space opera situation, could symbolize radiation attacks that are carried on by the aliens on the planet Earth, and that the various symbols can affect the magnitude of the destruction, and the magnitude of the rays, whatever technology that they use. I didn't know that the paintings themselves can become containers for Neros and for their artificial synthetic life forms, but I understood the symbolic aspect of the paintings with regards to the radiation, and I also understood that it's not the first time that it's happening. As I've said many times, quite a while ago I understood that it's like an ongoing thing in Israel. Since actually before it was actually enacted, since the beginning of Zionism, since the beginning of the 20th century, there is an issue with the Titan subjugation, and I understood that there was a major international scandal around that, like during the end of the 70s or the beginning of the 80s. Probably, it was something ongoing, right now. It's not something that resolved in a day. My own, the same is that my own, troubles and sorrows do not end in a day. So it took several years, and all sorts of things happened, and I spoke about it quite a bit, and I also understand that there was this radiation attack back then, but people did not learn anything at all, and they keep doing the same evil misdeeds, and the Israelis more than ever are evil and have no remorse. And the other nations, either specifically the Americans, are now much more involved, which makes them much more guilty. But I spoke about it quite a bit. It's not the time to get into it. But also other nations, they pretty much like the same as then. They prefer to just move mouses and tongues. And I've spoken about it quite a bit. But I understood that the paintings have symbolic meanings that can both increase the radiation and also decrease it. And this was actually documented in Facebook and Twitter, all sorts of symbolic issues. But one key aspect that was clear to me from the start is that the paintings, the symbols are also their effects also is in part is related to where I am, where physically I am located. And I understood that this is actually that where I am is of great significance, because I am like a shield from this radiation. This is something that I understood, during this painting career, maybe a year and a half ago, and I've spoken about it quite a bit. But I call this the umbrella. This is something that returns quite a bit, the issue of the umbrella. And I also said that I myself do not need the umbrella, because I do not suffer from this radiation. That the umbrella is for the people around me. Now it took me some time to understand the logic behind, the logic, like that lies here, because it's because of two issues. First of all, I mean I mean it's almost all of it. I mean all of my like conclusion. I mean was almost all only like I mean by rational like argumentation. I cannot like perform experiments like I'm doing with the neurons in my body. Like it's all rational and like lies on thinking and it's quite difficult like to reach like conclusion that way without any empirical evidence. But I mean sometimes I mean that's all everything that you have. That is first, and second, and even more importantly, the behavior of the Israelis is completely like immoral and irrational, and I cannot understand it to this day. I always try to like to understand the situation by I mean analyzing the way that the Israelis are acting, but it's impossible. It's impossible to that day. To this day, it's impossible because they act like with immense cruelty and irrational thought, and I just can't make any sense of it without resorting to like I mean mythologies like Satan and things like that. Because I mean only the existence of Satan can explain what they are doing. And this became more and more relevant because I understood that I mean at least since January, I mean I understood that it's starting again and it's increasing, and that they have way to actually measure it. And of course the ones that are affected the most are those that ate the Neros. I understood it very quickly, but eventually everyone will be affected. And I also understood that I mean if I walk outside, this have effect like on radiation. It lowers, it decreases it. And I mean, I already suspected it like more than a year ago, but since like, I mean, I would say December, like around December, I kind of like, I mean, this understanding was like, became more pertinent or more like, I mean, acute in my mind. But I couldn't make sense of the events because just around this time they arrested me, like they put me in arrest. Like in the last place, and I should say that, I mean, walking outside was my main hobby and preferred sport for many years. It's something that I do like it's my nature to do it. Like I walk outside a lot, like, and I always have, I mean, for many years now. That's both my sport and my hobby. So I mean you don't need to like encourage me to do it. I always did it and always do it. That's what I like to do, and it's also my preferred sport and also hobby. I do it a lot. But nevertheless, they arrested me. Like they put me in arrest for, I mean, after they framed me and tortured me. And I understood that for certain, I mean, that affect, like it negatively, this negatively affects the situation because radiation only increases. I understood it. But I couldn't understand what's the logic behind it. And even when I was in the arrest house, I understood that they tried like to do all sorts of like magic tricks, hypnotic tricks. So I will go to the chatzer, like I mean the outside, like I mean that jails have like I mean like a yard that you can like walk, even though it's much smaller than I mean you see in American movies. But I understood that they want me to do it, and of course I didn't do it. And later, I mean, I was released to house arrest in my mother apartment, and that was, I mean, I didn't understand why this arrest is actually continuing. Like, why do they need it? I mean, if they want me to go to walk outside, I mean, it's exactly the opposite of what I mean, and then my nature and my hobby and my sport is to do it. So why shouldn't I just? I mean, what are you doing, Israelis? And to this day, I can't understand. Like, I have all sorts of like conjectures. Like the main, like I would say, pseudo rational justification is that maybe they just, I mean, they couldn't like stand the thought that I control it. Like, I mean, they should be the ones that control when and how I do it. That's the main kind of like pseudo rational justification, because it was so important for them that I will be in arrest and I will not get like out of it. But also it was important to them that I will actually walk outside when they wanted. So they incited me to do it using all sorts of tortures that I spoken about quite a bit in my mother's apartment, physical and mental tortures, because they wanted me to go outside. And eventually, I couldn't stand it. And like, I mean, after like I organized the Neros in the magic box, if you remember, and did all sorts of things. Like I went to visit by foot, like my grandmother in Ramat Sharon. And when I came back, I mean, the police arrested me, and I was again put in arrest. And after that, I was released here to this hostel. And here, again, I mean, like after a month or so, there was a hearing, and I didn't get like the option to actually walk outside like whenever I want. Like, it's still extremely difficult to do it, and it's more than ever. It's evident now that that's what they want me to do, to walk outside. Like, I mean, you don't need to be genius. I mean, the taxidermies that are around me here. I mean, you know, I mean, I mean, it's not like you don't need. It's really obvious. I mean, what you want. I mean, what they want you to do. I mean, using like tricks that are, you know, embarrassing even for like a 10 years old. And probably they don't even like think about it. They just, I mean, perform commands formerly from like Titan female operators, and probably now from other puppets, because the Titan females are sick or something like that. So more than ever now they want me to walk outside, but they don't allow me to do it by law. Like, I mean, if I do it, I'm like afraid all the time that, I mean, police will take me into arrest. This doesn't make any sense at all, and I understand if someone, if my audience, like, if you prefer to be skeptic about like the arguments in this video, I understand you, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and because it doesn't make sense, it took me so long to understand what's going on. Even though I had like the divinations on the mother, and I had also conjectures I had like long ago. And it's something that was repeated like in Twitter, in Facebook, like when I spoke about my art. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why should you, I mean, put the person that, I mean, if he walks outside, I mean, radiation decreases. Why should you put this man in like under arrest and not letting him go outside if it's like his hobby and like prefers to do it, and he does it anyway for years now? So you don't need to worry that he will not do it. And while he's under arrest, you always try to incite him to walk outside in many ways. Like, what can be like the logic behind it, besides, I mean, what I've said? I mean, like, I mean, from mythological point of view, I mean, that's, I mean, the hands of Satan. And from pseudo, perhaps like quasi-rational point of view, you can say that, I mean, they can't stand like the thought that I control like the situation. Because they must be like in control, especially since I'm like a stupid robot, of course, not as smart as them. I mean, of course, I mean, never mind that. I mean, like, you know, I mean, the average IQ in the Shabbat is like, I mean, I mean, let's be honest, it's maybe like between 80 on 100 points less than mine. I mean, these are statistics that are evident. Like, I mean, including the Titan females, and without them, it's probably lower, because these people they have no brain. They literally have no brain. These are taxidermies. But I mean, they must be in control of the robot, presumably. So, and the only way to do it is to arrest him. So then he's under the control. But they can still presumably control when he will walk outside, because they have all these magic tricks and hypnotic cues that never really works. I mean, the only thing that actually worked is torture. I mean, physical torture with electricity. So I mean, this is, again, this is, I mean, incredibly irrational. I understand if my listeners, I mean, are skeptic, but I mean, it's not a new issue, and I've spoken about it many times in the past, and I felt like it's proper to reiterate, I mean, like, what's going on, because it's still relevant even more than ever. Like, right now, more than ever, it's true that, I mean, radiation is increasing, and it will increase considerably. And like, one of the way to reduce it, not the only way, is just me walking outside. It's not the only way. It's also the paintings are like another way. Like, if you hang it like on a white wall, and I assume some of you already know it and like understood it. And but of course, I mean, the best course of action is, more than, and this is of course like, you don't need voodoo. You just need to do the right thing, and the right thing is to get me out of prison, like, and of course, this also entails, like, if you rescue me for the Nazi prison from Israel, me and my daughters, of course, it entails that I can only also walk like freely, and you will also get the paintings, for like, reasonable amount, like, that will probably like will be maybe high, but like, because I need money, but very low compared to so many like advantages that you will get from this painting. So it's kind of like, the common sense thing to do, and the moral act also entails, like, the symbolic acts, that, because they are, one is part of the other. So I think that's what you really should do now is like not like think how can I walk outside without fear, and not like try to think how can you buy the painting from me, like, without the Israelis, like, torpedoing any kind of transaction, which will they try for certain. But what you need to do is to move arms and legs to rescue me and my daughters from the Nazi hell. Because once we are outside of this hell, the other issues, the symbolic issues, will, like, they will, like, be arranged by themselves. So this is the situation, and now in another video we will speak about initial analysis of yesterday's results of the microscopic investigation.